This podcast is in association with the Blast Wing Shooting Kennels, the Rush of the Flush Hunt Club, and is sponsored by American Natural Premium Dog Food, B Mountain Knife Works, and the National Bird Dog Circuit. I cannot call, but this is great. Welcome to another episode of number 5 here of the Wing Masters Truth Be Told podcast. I'm here with Alec, Kysely, and this is going to be another great episode for you that I'm just blowing to call because we're having fun talking about. I want to talk about the segue of the correlationship between duck hunting and hunt test. And because we have a hunt test summer, it's important to talk about. But man, right now, guys, I mean, updated around here, this weather in central Wisconsin is killing us. We are nothing but wind, nothing but rain every day. Alec and I are doing nothing but cleaning everything up. This has been, I think, don't you think it's been like one of the longest springs of what we had in terms of just like getting the kennel up to par and getting all our projects done?
Usually it's quicker. Like last year was quicker, but the problem is we have so much snow, but it's usually bad for a week.
Yeah.
Like with just the mud and everything, and then it goes 50, 60 degrees, and then it keeps going up from there. But now this year, it's been nothing but mud still for like a month.
Oh my God.
It's like, geez.
And I got hunt test dogs here. We're gonna be rolling a hunt test and gun dog training. So like when I'm saying hunt test and I'm saying gun dog, I'm using that as a general term because we got a lot of dogs here getting ready for hunting season as well. And it's annoying because by now I would like to be in the water, but I mean, I would have thought the way that the winter was here, that the spring would hold on here up in Wisconsin, in central Wisconsin. But you know, it's exciting to talk about things as we're going because every time we jump on one of these things, and we give 2 to 3 weeks in between, there's so much that goes on. I was thinking about this today. I'm like, sometimes things that are really like, I don't know, probably be like big deals to other people are just average to me because of how much good stuff I got going on out there.
Oh, that's for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like you got it. I was thinking about that. I'm like, there was something the other day where I'm like, something was really special. I was like, that's pretty special, but you know, that's just normal to me. Like, for example, we got Whisper right now. Whisper's, ready to pop. This is a Winnie daughter. Winnie's last litter
with Cowboy
was with Cowboy. And I kept the only female named Whisper. And she's placed at the Nationals. She's a senior hunter in the AKC stuff and the hunt test world and stuff. She's a nice little duck dog. And this is Alec's first opportunity to be a DMV. Or DVM.
I am a DMV.
Yeah, I'm
registered drivers. I'm a registered driver.
He's a registered driver. No, we have learned, and I don't know if many people know about this, and this is fun to start talking about right off the bat, but I learned about, what is that, 2 years maybe? Maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
You're probably 3 years in because you were doing it by the time that I started, and that was 2 years ago.
Okay. So I learned how to artificially inseminate myself. So here's what happened. A lot of people would start coming into my place. They would drive like 13 hours, or the longest guy that's ever drove, I think, has been from Idaho, then a bunch from the East Coast. But they're driving here to get their female bred, right? Get here, and Mother Nature ain't working. And you're like, oh boy.
Female spikes, you can't
female
get
spikes, can't get into the hotel, or can't get into the hotel. What's going on with me tonight? By the way, this is just sun drop. I ain't even drinking. What the hell's happening? So anyway, can't get into the vet to get a progesterone, which for you people that know what a progesterone is, the progesterone tests the ovulation level of the female, so that will tell us on a blood test, okay, she's ready to be bred right now. And so we get a progesterone, can't get it on a progesterone. The progesterone on the way to the people driving me says, hey, we're hot and ready, let's go. And get here and Mother Nature ain't working. So it's like, oh boy, this isn't going to be good. And then people would drive 20 some hours and then go, hey, I'm sorry, Journey or Cowboy, nothing I can do. Mother Nature ain't working. And for some reason, these two ain't making it happen. So then what I would start doing is go, all right, I need to learn how to do this in case Mother Nature doesn't work for me. Then I got to go into being my own vet.
Okay, well, now I got a question for you.
Okay.
How did you learn how to do it?
Basically, I just got on YouTube.
Isn't that the best thing ever, YouTube?
This amazing thing called YouTube. Ever heard of it before?
Yeah. I was lucky enough to learn from you.
Yeah.
After helping you all the time.
Yeah, so anyway, Whisper's bred right now. I've done it. I'm like anywhere. My numbers are like around 11 for 12. Like so far, I've only missed like one.
I haven't missed any.
Yeah, because Alec's 1 for 1 right now.
That's just like aiming at the sun. I'm 1 for 1.
Yeah, 1 for 1.
When the bird goes to the sun, you aim right at the center. It's got to work. You're 100%.
Yeah, that's what everybody told me. Shoot the sun. But every time I shoot the sun, the bird keeps flying. Every time you shoot the sun, it falls. So
1 for 1, baby.
1 for 1. Anywho, so it's cool because when Mother Nature don't work and you learn to become your own vet clinic, right? And you produce a litter of puppies. It's really neat because those puppies wouldn't have been born without you.
Well, that's what you always told me. Like we've had dogs in training for that, and you said it's just crazy to think about that. I wouldn't even be training this dog, or that family wouldn't have had the opportunity to have this specific dog that they love so much and do everything with if it wasn't for you.
Right, because Mother Nature didn't work for us. That's the beauty of science at times. And so anyway, that's cheers to Alex. Cheers to Alex first.
Over FaceTime.
Alex, I'm down in Louisiana. I FaceTime Alex. Said, okay, here's the deal.
She's greater than 20. We're screwed.
Yeah, because
and we didn't have. You had the AI kit.
Yeah, I had the AI kit down south. I said, oh man, you're gonna have to run to the vet.
Shout out Dr. Wendy.
Yeah, Dr. Wendy at Burnawood Veterinary Clinic in Burnawood, Wisconsin. And we ran out there. Dr. Wendy gives him the kit. I said, okay, here's what you do. So he's FaceTiming me. And I'm talking him through how to artificially inseminate a dog.
Yeah, 'cause like I've done it with you, but like we wanted to make sure we were cut and clean.
So I said, all right, here you go. Here's what you got to do. And look, and I'm going to tell you right now, she is a house. She is a house. So that's one cool thing we got going on. So spring puppies in there. Lucy's puppies are 4 weeks right now.
Looking great.
Looking great. They're all sold. Whisper's puppies are coming. A few available if you're looking for a puppy this spring, which is Whisper, which is out of Winnie, and Cowboy bred to Journey. So this is all 3 of my top dogs in one pedigree. Winnie, Journey, and Cowboy all in the same pedigree.
Dan's been waiting for this.
Yeah, Dan Donovan, our buddy's been waiting for this. He has had his list on this for 2 years. He's going crazy. He can't wait. So anyway, that was a side tangent. And then the other cool thing that was just going is that was fun for you guys didn't hear about it, that I was on the Doghouse podcast.
Rockin' podcast.
It was a cool podcast. So the Doghouse podcast had me on with Jimmy Rogers and Adam Campbell. And they both had me on, and it was cool to be sitting on the other side, being interviewed. I'd been on other podcasts before. We got into talking about the bird dog circuit stuff, and it was a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check out the Doghouse podcast with me on there as the guest. Don't listen to the other ones. No, I'm just kidding. Listen to them all. Don't be cheating on us. So
we'll know.
No, just kidding. So that was fun part 2. So we got lots going on. This time of year is always exciting because all the dogs are starting to come in. And last year, part of this Wingmasters thing is last year we bought the cameras. Literally, guys, this is how I started this thing. I'm like, got this Wingmasters idea. I'm going to get this camera. I just start getting some ideas, and I buy this camera. Okay, well, then we buy these mics. All right, then we start filming. And then we literally are filming like 6-7 dogs all last summer.
Oh, my God.
And we're literally...
After working 10 hours
After working 10 hours, we're trying to find the right weather. Sometimes it's windy. Only to find out that basically it was all a waste of footage because our mics were horrible, and every time I turned to my body to talk, it cut the sound out. So that was pretty devastating. We learned a production issue right now. So, You should see this badass stuff we got now that we got ordered right now.
We'll post a reel of it.
Yeah, we'll post a reel on this. That's this gimbal that Alec's all geeking out about as the tech master over there.
Let me tell you, if we don't get it this summer, then it's a us problem, not a tech problem.
Because I ended up reinvesting in the best camera you can buy, the best gimbal, the best mics. So we're excited now this spring to be videoing into the summer, and then the website will start getting built later on in midsummer. So we're gonna keep you guys with us at where we're going. But with all that being said, those are things that are going on around here and you might have your dog in training with us listening right now. Well, we're excited to make sure you give your dog a spot. What is it about? It's only 7 months until hunt season. Actually, it's only 7 months until November. It's actually only 6 months until October.
God, I can't wait to see those roosters.
Holy man.
Like I've been thinking about that lately. Ducks,
geese. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Like isn't it wild to sit here that we're on episode number 5 and to think that we're only 6 months away?
Oh my God.
This summer is gonna fly by between filming and doing the podcast and training the amount of dogs we got right now. I mean, it's been rocking.
Pretty soon it's going to go from 105 days to Top Gun Championship to only 30 days to pheasant opener.
And then we got one more. So keep you guys in loop. We got one more thing going on. We got one more tournament. There's always a match play tournament at the Upland Challenge Series. That's this next weekend. First weekend in May. We pound that out. And then the next weekend right after the Upland Challenge Series match play tournament, we set the old game vest aside, Upland vest aside, and we put on the old Hunt Test Handler's jacket, which is what we want to segue into right now. I think this episode is something that I really want to talk about it. And as I'm talking, I see outside my window a mallard flies by around my pond. That's cool. And
what are the odds? And we got a mating pair with eggs right on the middle of your island.
We do. That's awesome. Got a mating pair right now, so it's pretty cool. They come back every year. These geese, so it's pretty cool.
Because I don't hunt around here.
Yeah. I know.
Nick, what have you been doing, Nick?
Yeah, they're going to get aggravated with us pretty soon as we're running blinds right past their nest. But anyway, so I wanted to go into this episode because we've been talking about nothing but upland. And I think it's important now to switch gears throughout the summer here because we're going to be in hunt test mode and we're going to be in dog training mode to start getting people a grip of the importance of training a duck dog, right? So you've heard us talk a lot about upland dogs, and upland dogs are like my number one passion to what you're doing. But a close second is waterfowling.
You just segued into something perfect.
Okay.
I got one of the most important questions for you. Mm-hmm. Can I have a master hunter that is also a good tournament dog, an upland dog?
Have you ever been on this podcast before?
Is this my first time?
Is this your first time? Yes, you can because
there's a misconception.
There is a misconception. I've been mentioning, and I'm glad you just said that question because
I've been thinking about that since the start.
Yeah, all right, because I keep mentioning it in all the podcasts about the fact that I want a dog that can be a tournament hunting champion and can be a master hunter before the two. But what does that mean? Like, if you're an uplander too, if your person is an upland and you want to do some little duck hunting, you got people that are 50-50. You got people that are more upland and do a little duck hunting on the side. You got people that are all waterfowl and do a little bit of upland, right? So all this stuff is correlation. All the training and the ideologies and the philosophies are all kind of the same. The hunt test is all kind of the same, right? So when I talk about tournament hunting, and I'm going to stay with your question here, so just give me 1 second. When I talk about tournament hunting being the extension of your pheasant season, so your pheasant season ends and you extend it by going all the way into April. I mean, we're still bird dog at the beginning of May right here. Yeah, I mean, you and I, we're a little crazy, but anyway. And then your hunt test season is to prepare you for your hunting season. So that's your off season right now. And actually what the hunt test season is designed for is to help you prepare your dog to segue into hunting season. And you can hunt test all year round if you want to go north and south, yep. Just like you can bird dog all year round if you want to. But in terms of what you want to do as a hunter or what you want to do as a competitor, whatever your passion is or whatever you're more about, it doesn't matter. And I've been fortunate that my passions have went on both sides of the fence, and I've been passionate on both sides. But yes, you can have. You said a master hunter. Say your question again. So
can you have a master hunter and an awesome duck dog also be an upland champion and great upland dog?
Yes.
Because a lot of people say that. I can't remember his name, but a lot of people in the hunt test, like Cinch's owner, he was talking about those people who are saying, you can't have a master hunter and then also be a good upland dog. And he says, wait until you see this little girl that was out of Journey and a Winnie daughter.
Yeah.
Remember that when you were talking about that this summer when he was telling you that?
Yeah, I said that's another myth for sure. That's another myth for sure. I've been, one of the first podcasts I was on as a guest, I said that I was in, I could be a tad bit off on this, but it don't matter. If I am, it's not by much. That I've created more master hunters and upland champions than anybody in the country. And I'm pretty sure I'm not off on this. Right, and that's talking about tournament hunting champions, and master hunters. And I'm going to tell you what, for his Kentucky Derby, which is the other thing that's coming up,
we're going to be at match play.
Yeah, we're going to be at match play. So hopefully they're going to have the Kentucky Derby on at night in the bar because we got to go check that out. But a Kentucky Derby tournament hunting dog, find the birds as fast as you can, shoot, get back here, scream over here, hit time, and all the hunting of that, to a sit still. Watch the birds, pound the marks, come back, run perfect blinds with no e-collar on. All right, I need to have both of you. Right? So is that possible? 100% yes. I've done more dogs of that than anybody in the country. And actually, I probably pretty much don't even have to even be afraid to say it because I am the person who has.
Yeah.
And I said that many times before. And I'm proud of that because I want to be able to do two different things. If my life, like being around Jimmy Rogers was fun. It was fun for me to go down and train with him before this Kentucky hunt test I just went to. I enjoyed being back in somebody who's so passionate about hunt tests. I've been around so many upland tournament hunters lately that all we've been talking about is tournament hunting and points and tournaments and pheasant dogs and this and that. It was fun to go back. I mean, I got to see a field champion run down there. I ran a field champion down at Jimmy's. There's a Seaside Pompous Jack. He's an AFC that Phil Heiss owns. Phil High owns, and Phil High, a vet down in Kentucky. I got to train on his gorgeous Rolling Hills property in central Kentucky and watch a dog run a 400-yard blind and pretty much line it, and you don't know what he's doing. I mean, when you send this dog and for him being taught to stay straight, it's unbelievable. To an uncanny level of seeing a dog do it at such an uncanny level of being a field champion to dogs that we were just training to sit still and be good hunting dogs.
How old was that dog?
Well, he's 9.
Oh, okay.
So when he's 9.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I'm glad you asked the question. It's cool to see a dog in their element at 9 years old who's like seen it all. Like you can't throw a mark they don't understand. A distance. You can't show them a blind they don't understand. They see water, they know to skim it, they know everything. It's so crazy the level that you can get to. But that's what you're going to. I like to talk about the highest levels of things because I think it's something of value. Okay, so he goes out and picks up a 400-yard mark, and you say this is actually another thing about field trials that get a bad rap at times. It's like, well, when am I ever going to do a 400-yard retrieve? Well, have you ever snow goose hunted before? Have you ever goose hunted before? Where you wound a goose and it stays flying low, and then at the end of the cut cornfield, it finally drops down and it's standing out there honking 300 some yards. Okay, well, if you got a dog that can mark that and can scream out there 300 or 400 yards and go barrel roll that goose before it takes off, because let me tell you, if you leave a goose out there in the hunting, which we're going to get talking about, okay, that goose will run like a rooster. That son of a gun, if you leave it out there for a while, it'll be gone. It'll
100%.
It'll go 200-300 yards. It'll start running just like a wounded rooster. So geese, and so will ducks. People don't believe that a wounded duck will get in the marsh and freaking leave you stir crazy. A wounded duck on land will go run the same too. So I think there's always this notion of, oh, well, I shot the goose, he landed over there, he'll be there when I go pick him up. No. And while we're on that subject, let's talk about that because you segued something really perfect here. Okay, I'll have people come here and say, I just need a good duck dog. I don't need no upland. And I always tell Alec this, and I'll tell you guys this as long as we're on here to give you a little education on this. No, you need upland. No, I'm not going to go upland hunt. I don't do none of that upland stuff. All right, well, no problem. But have you ever had a wounded duck land in the back of the marsh, and you're like, okay, I can't go around the pond to do it right now because it's too hot and heavy, birds are coming in. But then once the dust settles and the sky's clear and the birds are done flying for the morning, it's like, you know what? I should really walk over there and go see if I can find that bird. Well, what are you going to do? Walk over there with a dog at heel and expect to find that bird? You're not going to find it. What you got to do is walk the dog over there, do just like we do in upland, tell him, hunt him up, and let him start quartering the marsh using the wind to go see if he can find this wounded bird back there. So upland is valuable even as a duck hunter. And it's valuable because there's certain birds that you can get to that you can't run a blind. And we can talk about blind retrieves in a minute here. But
the best duck dog knows upland.
The best duck dog still knows upland. So a lot of times I'll be done and I want to get into explaining duck dogs and hunt test dogs. But as long as I'm sitting at this conversation right now, so I don't have to circle back to it, is we'll be done hunting. And I'll take Journey, Cowboy, Winnie, whoever was my dog at the time this year to be Patriot at my side most of the time because I want him to get some waterfowl season underneath him. All right. And I'll tell him, go hunt him up. And there is many times I come up with all the cripples. I'll come up with 2-3 cripples that we pounded on the back of a marsh and come up and get them. And I wouldn't be able to get that if all he was taught was to sit at my side because he wouldn't even, if I said hunt him up, he'd just look back up at me and look up.
No birds fell.
Yeah, no birds fell. What are you talking about? I didn't see nothing fall, so I'm not going out there. He needs to know that when I say hunt him up, go out and search and find something, right? So I think that's a subject we got covered right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what we want to do. So this episode here has been, I wanted to talk about hunt testing. I wanted to dedicate a whole episode to hunt testing, and we can, but it's not as important as we're leading into it because we got all summer to talk about hunt testing, and we're going to be getting hot and heavy into hunt testing midsummer, so I can talk more about different things that go on a hunt test, problems, solving all that stuff, all that. There's 3 things that a duck hunter really wants a dog to be able to do. The first thing is you want a dog to not be gun shy, and you want to be able to take 6 guns and shoot over the dog's head. So gun conditioning is super important.
Don't take your dogs to the trap range to introduce them to guns or a hunt club.
Or 5 months old on their first duck hunt and never had a day of training.
Got that out? I feel a little bit better.
I'm glad you just said that.
How many dogs we got right now that are like that?
We got 2 or 3 gun shy ones here right now that literally got gun shy by taking them straight to a hunt. I don't know how long we can preach this, but pretty much we should just start a disclaimer at every single podcast.
Do not
take your damn dog to the trap. Do not take your dog on the first hunt just because you own a retriever. This is
and blast his ears out.
Oh my
5
God.
guys. How do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, you get lucky. No, don't get me wrong. You got dogs with high drive that you can get lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, don't take the chance. Don't do it.
The reward is not worth the risk.
Oh my God.
For 2 weeks versus 3 months of fixing.
I'm about to break the sun drop bottle right over this table the more I think about this. I'm just drinking sun drop and I get hyper about this. This is stuff that'll make me go postal and on just being like, hey, listen, people. Now, I don't know where it comes from. Now, I understand that people just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And they're excited to go duck hunting and they think, well, this is a retriever and this is what they're born to do. All right. That's true. All right. But it's just like taking a kid and saying, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to throw a football at you as fast as I can and you're 5 years old.
Right at your face.
Right at your face and block it, kid. It's the same thing. And and the kid might duck it. He might
get lucky.
He might get lucky and duck it. All right.
90%
of the time, the kid's going to be bawling and crying and never want to see a football again. All right. Well, that's what happens with your duck dog. They're going to be crying and they never want to see a dang gun again. And it's like, oh man, yeah. Let's get off this tangent, huh? we got this tangent going, but I mean, it's something. I could stay on here. I could stay here. All right. So, gun conditioning and shooting over a dog's head. I'll try not to get on these tangents, but I think it's going to happen today. I think I'm in the mood of tangent. All right. Now, okay. The second thing is staying steady. Okay. I do not know a time when it's okay for your dog to break when birds are coming in. I don't know a time. I understand that if you just want to take your dog a couple times a year and you don't have time to study your dog and you want to go out there, let him sit, and the birds come in and he takes off jumping, and you basically gotta watch your dog and try to shoot the birds. That is a nightmare, and it is the most unsafe thing you can see.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you bring your dog with your buddies and you have a breaking dog, and it won't be quiet, won't sit still, those guys are probably not going to ask you to go hunting again.
They're not going to ask you to go hunting again, and they're just, you're going to be like, hey,
it's not enjoyable.
It's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable to see your dog breaking out. It's not enjoyable to see your dog busting birds off of decoys before we get a chance to shoot. It's not enjoyable when I pull up and I'm scared to shoot because your dog's in the middle of the spread. It's not enjoyable. All right. And I'm preaching to you like this right now because in the future, we're going to be able to say to you, okay, listen, it's not enjoyable. Go to wingmastersusa.com and go learn how to study your dog. Go to wingmasters.com and go learn how to gun condition your dog. Go to wingmasters.com. Go learn how to do what I'm going to talk about number 3 right now. We could stand studying this tangents. It's unsafe, it's unethical, and it makes the hunt unenjoyable. So let's just stop there before I go on a way more tangent. Okay, now the next thing is retrieving. Oh my God, here's another thing.
Wait, you're telling me you need to force fetch your dog?
Oh, man. I've been on hunts with people that say, oh, he's just a meat dog. What does that mean? It's just a meat dog. That drives me nuts when somebody says it's just a meat dog. That meat dog thing, you guys can throw it away. You know what that means? That means that the dog has no standards, and you hope that maybe today he'll be a duck dog, and maybe he won't be, because you got no standards placed on a dog. All right, the dog needs to bring the bird. But he goes out and starts plucking the bird out in the middle of the field, and here comes more birds in, or he's swimming around, or he gets hung up in the decoys and he swims in the decoys, or he swims out in the decoys, grabs the bird, swims halfway back, drops the bird, gets freaked out by the decoy, swims in. He swims out, he's got the bird in his mouth. You start shooting because more birds come in over the top and do a version bird, which we can talk about later. And he drops that bird and starts looking to the sky. I mean, just a shit show. I mean, just okay. The dog must be doing the trained retrieve, force fetch, conditioned retrieve, whatever you want to call it. What did I say I was going to call it? I had a good term for it.
No, I thought that was just the TAP program that we changed so far.
Yeah, but there was another one I was going to do for retrieve, but it don't matter. All right. And you have a dog that is taught to retrieve, which in the old school terms is called force fetch. All right. And it's just the easiest, most typical term to make sure they are retrieving for you. All right. So, we are not asking much, by the way. That is actually not asking much.
You can ask for a hell of a lot more.
You can ask for a hell of a lot more. And we are just sitting here saying a foundation basic duck dog. You're gun conditioned to where I can jump up and shoot over your head and you don't freak out. Also, what gun conditioning brings is when they hear a gun go off, they look for a bird. Like, where's the bird? Where's the bird? Where's the bird? They associate a gun with a bird, right? Okay, so that's a big piece. Okay, now, you jump up, take them. You give the dog a nick on the collar, which is collar conditioning. Okay, let's stop there. So when I study them, they're also collar conditioned. Why is they collar conditioned? So I can remind him to stay sitting as we're about to go up and kill these birds.
I don't want to hunt ducks with a lead.
Yeah, and we don't want to hunt ducks with a lead, and I don't want to tie him to the boat, and I don't want to, whatever other contraptions you guys use a leash. I don't want to sit there and hold on to the dog while my buddy's shooting. I don't get to shoot all the whatever crap you hear about duck hunters doing. All right, I don't want to put him in a box with a door so he looks outside and then I open up the door.
I've never heard of that.
You never heard that?
Never.
Oh yeah, what they do is they make this box.
He can't get out.
So they take a box.
See.
Yeah, and some of them even cut a hole in there so the dog's head can hang out like a hound dog box that goes out. And the dog hangs out, looking out. His head hangs out watching the ducks. And then they freaking got the door locked with a padlock on it with a chain on the thing so it don't bust out of the crate. I'm just kidding. And then they freaking open up the door and shit. So, I mean, come on. This is what I'm talking about. And then the dog's in there screaming and whining and you can't stand it. And the dog's making your hunt more and more miserable.
Like, you do those 3 things that you just listed.
Yep.
You are going to have such an enjoyable hunt. And if you have kids, it's 10 times better because your kids, the dog does what it's supposed to do with younger individuals that
100%.
Don't exactly know what they're doing. Like, you know, they have gun safety and stuff, but this might be their first duck hunt. And you got a trained dog that does those 3 things. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're giving you the nightmare version right now of what people in the duck hunting world think is like okay. It's just like okay or something. It's like I hear this all the time. I've been on hunts. This one time on this hunt, it was great. I'm going to some people that I don't know. There's like 6 or 8 guys. We're field hunting. And they're like, what is all this master hunter bullshit anyway? Like he's boasting to me like he knows, like this is real world duck hunting. Like my master hunters don't know what they're doing, you know? And he's smoking a cigarette. I'm like, I'm about to pull that cigarette out of your mouth and shove it somewhere. You know what I mean? And I'm a little testy tonight. So anyway, so I'm like, all right. So we get done. It was Journey on this hunt. No, actually it's Cowboy, excuse me. Cowboy never broke. Cowboy picked up like 20 some ducks. Cowboy ran like 6 blinds for the birds. Cowboy did a diversion bird on the way back that somebody shot one that came from and they dumped it and he came and gave me the bird and did it. I actually sent Cowboy on a blind to flush birds off a field because they decoyed out in there, and I sent them on them to run a blind out there to flush them and then call them off of them and brought them back. That's how much control. And then when we got done, he says, after he's like, well, you know, I see you, or how do you say it? At first he says, what's all this Master Hunter stuff? Then he says to me, you know, I don't really see what this Master Hunter stuff's, I can't really see what it's all about. I said, you just saw it. I said, what did you not see? This dog had not done one thing wrong on this hunt. Not one freaking thing. He ran multiple retrieves. He ran multiple blinds. He did a diversion bird, and I sent him on a blind to flush birds that were decoying too far away so the birds wouldn't come to our spread. What more do you want? I mean, and he never whined once. He never took his eyes off the sky. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Perfect hunt. We stack up. We got this picture and stuff. It's like, okay, now that's just ignorance. If you want to be ignorant, that's fine. But ignorant people don't get invited on hunts, right? Unless they need an extra gun to shoot your 3 birds. You know, hey, just, you know,
you sit in the truck.
You sit in the truck. Bring your gun and sit out here. Just don't
Thanks,
load
JC.
it. Yeah, just don't load it. So, you know, but I mean, you're being ignorant because your ego's hurt. So I think this is probably an important piece that I'll roll off on right now. Okay, here's the thing. In martial arts, this is my best way to describe it. If you were to roll jiu-jitsu, I was a jiu-jitsu black belt. When I started jiu-jitsu is the best martial art to learn first. Or not first, but anyway, it's one of the best to learn. And here's the reason why. Is because I don't have to punch you in the face to show you you're no good at it. All I got to do is just keep tapping you out and keep making you submit and show you that you don't know a thing, and I can make it look like I'm rolling with a baby. I can make you, being a jiu-jitsu black belt, roll around with somebody and make you look like a toddler on a
All right, let's go.
I can't wait. I freaking choke the shit out of you.
I'm going to tell Heave a hook you.
So you take the ego out. So if you come in, like I had people coming to my gym. Oh, I can remember this one guy too, and I don't want to get into too many tangents, but I'm going to come back to my point here, is that people used to come into my gym and be like, well, yeah, I did some jiu-jitsu, and I don't know if I want to learn or not, and I'd give them a little couple weeks or a week where you could free pre-trial thing, and then they'd want to roll me, and my students were tapping them up. I'm like, all right, if you got an ego to think that rolling me is going to be able to, then I'm going to make you look like that was a bad idea, right? Okay, but here's the thing. I would be at that level. My instructor, Marcelo Montero, who was straight from Brazil, would make me look like a baby. And then Marcelo had somebody that would make him look like a baby. And to think that in reality, I was just an average American jiu-jitsu black belt, it is like wild. You know, I went to jiu-jitsu tournaments and rolled black belts. I won tournaments, I lost some. You know, and it was fun to be on a national Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt level. So, and this is going to segue into another thing. If I go into Chicago and these people breathe living on the mats 3 hours a day doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's all they care about. Like we care about hunting and duck hunting and tournament hunting. All they think about is Jiu-Jitsu every day of the week. That's it. They're in the gym 5-6 days a week. They're staying in shape. They're eating correctly. They're taking care of their bodies. That's all these people care about. And then I go and I tap out another black belt. It was cool because I was on an American level. I'm knowing that on a national level, I'm rolling with people from California, from Chicago, from Florida, and then I'm also getting beat. And then you just shake their hand and good. And it's the same as wrestling, right? It's single-handed sports. Okay, back to where I was going off on this tangent is that you don't look at a dog and be jealous of it and have an ego about your dog, like that dog's not better than mine. That dog was that guy was just able to spend more time. My dog could be as good, and maybe it could be. But hold yourself accountable to being like, no, I didn't actually train my dog. And it's cool to actually see a dog at this level. And it's exciting to be like, wow, I would really like to own a dog like that. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I hope your aspirations are to own the best dog you can own. And my aspirations as being a Wingmaster mentor is to help you get the best dog you can own in the future on your own. If you don't have time to do it on your own, then like the kennel is right now, well, then you send them here. We do the training for you, and then we teach you how to become a hell of a handler.
I think you said that perfectly. When we went on that first duck hunt of opener with Cowboy and Chaos picked up a cowboy.
You made me kayak in the rain forever.
Oh my God, it was awesome. And then we didn't have no waders. It was awesome. We're gonna change.
You don't need your waders. You don't need your waders.
I didn't think so, but I found out we needed waders.
Yeah, we should have.
Never again will I go water hunting without waders. I don't care. But anyways, like going back to what you said it perfectly, because when there was a blind retrieve had to be done, Chaos doesn't know blinds. That's what I'm working for right now. Right. Cowboy ran beautiful blinds, took every cast. And it turns out it was super strong current, so we couldn't find it, which sucks. But you had him out there for 5 minutes, just swimming, taking casts, looking here, looking over there. Right. I wasn't jealous that my dog couldn't do that. It made me want to train my dog to do that. I want to become a better handler and have a better dog because of the training. Right. I had no jealousy towards you. I was like, that's what I'm talking. That's a duck dog right there. Right. That's what it means.
Aspire to be better. I hope that if there's anything that you learned around me, my buddy Ernest V. Hill, great friend of mine, he says, you got to be the most positive, most gunning person I ever met, meaning like you're always gunning to be better at something. I'm always gunning to be better at my own craft. I'm always gunning to be better competitor. I'm always gunning to be a better handler at hunt test. I'm always gunning to be a better hunter, a better shotgunner, a better businessman, a better God man, whatever. I'm always gunning for something. Like and that's getting some passion in you guys. Like, I said this many times. Get passion. Maybe your passion's deer hunting. Maybe your passion's racing. Maybe my niece is getting into horses, which is another little small passion I got to stay away from for a little while because that'll get expensive. Well, I do want to get myself a horse, but you got to get yourself a passion. Aspire to be something better. Right now, being jealous. If I'm jealous against the guy on the mat next to me, he's just laughing. He just chucks me out and goes, "What are you so jealous about?" All right, then I go at him even more angry and even more mad. He just keeps having me stupider. And I just look stupider. And later on, here's what happens. Here's what happens to jealous people that have no aspirations. They quit. They're quitters. Because they got such an ego in their own mind. They're quitters. A humble person who's open up your mind, who's ready to learn and go to different standards and learn, all right, that person will achieve 100 times more than what the person is. I already know that. Yeah, Vaughn, I've been hunting with him. Yeah, his dogs are all right, but mine could be like that too. Well, no, it can't be because you don't have the knowledge and you don't have the dog power and you don't have the wherewithal of the dedication to make it like that.
Wow. Right? How true is all that?
That's super true. And that's anything. I don't care. Martial arts, whatever you want to do. If there's a teenager listening to this right now, if you're in sports, I don't care. If you're an adult sitting on the couch and you're trying to look for a new passion, then get your butt off the couch and get yourself a dog and start getting a shotgun in your hand and let's go. That's what Wingmasters is all about. It's about what you do.
Turn the key.
Turn the key. Wingmasters is the brand in which the dog motivates you to become a new person. And that's why we love our dogs so much. All right. Tangents again, huh?
Okay. I love these tangents.
Yeah, but they're perfect tangents because they're going on now.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's what we're here to talk about. I keep saying that. I should probably not be saying it, but that's all right. Okay, now, so correlation. So I want to correlate this to a junior hunter. You can shoot over the dog's head. The dog sits still until he's told to go out and get the bird. And when he's told to go out and get the bird that he saw fall, all right, when he sees it fall and he gets to the bird, he picks it up immediately. He comes back and he heels up and hands it to you. Nice foundation duck dog that is doing very well. And I'm going to tell you what is probably better than 80% of the average duck hunting dogs out there. That is called a junior level.
And that's pretty much a foundation level dog, 4 months.
4 month foundation level dog trained in-house here. And like we were talking about the other day, if you're going to be doing it yourself, it's probably going to be 4 to 6 months because you're going to be following along with me and you're going to be learning how to train the dog along the way when you're doing the wing.
You haven't trained hundreds of dogs.
Yeah, you haven't trained hundreds of dogs, so you're going to have to read it's going to take you a while to get the reads a little bit more, but you're going to have me in your back pocket, be in your phone going, oh, okay, this is what he meant. This is what he meant. And you're going to be learning along the way. And you're basically have you coach and mentor you along the way. Okay. Now, a junior hunt test. So let me explain a junior hunt test now. We just explained what we would call a foundation junior level duck dog. Okay. You take him out, sit still, you shoot over his head. He watches birds fall. He stays sitting still. And you send him out, and whatever he sees, he picks up and brings back and heals up and hands it to you. Okay. A junior hunt test. Now there's AKC hunt test and there's HRC hunt test. HRC hunt tests are the UKC circuit of hunt tests.
You mind explaining what AKC versus UKC?
Yeah,
quick, just quick for hunt tests.
Well, UKC's hunt test program is actually called HRC. So yes, AKC. So, okay, they're two different. One goes to your American AKC registration, and one goes to your UKC registration. All right, and the differences between them are minute details. Like I would say that HRC is a little more hunt related, less on the marking and less on the more on the line manners, less on the hard test, and more about an actual hunting dog. The AKC is a little bit more about the technicalities of really marking well, being really tight on your blinds, maybe a little looser at the line. They'll give a little delay at the line. And both of them have little nuances, and I'll explain them as the way we go. But let's just talk about an AKC junior dog or a UKC started dog. I'm just going to use the AKC system because that's what I do the most. I can explain,
and that's more. Wouldn't you say that's more popular? AKC, or no? Am I incorrect for saying that? Or are they about the same?
Well, here's the thing. And this is great. I'm glad you just said that because a lot of AKC people also run UKC. Okay. They run both. So it'd be like if you ran two different tournament organizations.
Got it.
A lot of AKC pros will run UKC as well. And they'll go to the UKC Grand, and the AKC will be the Master National. The Grand and the Master National are the same. But UKC actually has two Grands. They have a Spring Grand and a Fall Grand, where AKC only has a Fall Master National. So there's higher levels to all this stuff. But let's talk about, and I just wrote a tidbit about it. It was on my tidbits. If you're following my tidbits, I've been on my Friday tidbits talking about hunt test. So a junior dog, you must be able to walk to the line on a leash, right? So you come out of the holding blind. And if you want to hear about this a little bit more description, I'm not going to go into complete description. Go read my Friday tidbits right now on my Facebook page right now. And they're also on Wingmaster's Facebook page and on the Blast Facebook page because I give it in more detail in my writings. Okay. You come out of the holding blind. You got to heel the dog up to the line. When you get to the line, all right, you take the leash off. You set it behind you. You hold the dog. You point it to the mark. Now, there's going to be two landmarks in your first series. They can do water first or land first is not a way, but normally land first because then they'll do the water when it's hotter during the day because you're running a hunt test in the summer. You hold the dog. You point him at mark number 1. You signal the judge. The judge signals the guy out there in the holding blind station. They quack. They throw the bird, which will usually be a flyer, will be your first bird at a junior. They'll throw a live bird. They'll kill it. They'll say dog, or they'll say your number. As soon as they say that, you can talk to your dog now. During the time that the bird is going to the ground, you can't.
Once you signal in all three, junior, senior, hunt, master.
Yeah, junior, senior, master. Once you signal, you can't say anything to the dog until the judge says dog or your number.
And that's a big difference between AKC and UKC, correct?
Correct. That is a big difference because UKC, you can talk to your dog the whole time. Thanks for bringing that up because it is a big difference. So you can't say nothing at AKC. So they go to shoot the bird. Let's say the dog goes to take off. Well, I just hold them. I got the right to hold them. That's why you hold them. Because they're young dogs, right? Okay, in my case, as soon as the bird hits the ground, every dog that's trained here, when a bird hits the ground, they're taught the 3-step program. Soon as the bird hits the ground, sit. I reinforce sit. Then I tell them good for staying sitting. Sit, good for staying sitting. Journey, and I ship them out to go get the bird, right? All right, they go get the bird, they pick it up. All right, good boy. Tweet on the whistle, which means return to me, come back, heel up. In junior, you cannot touch the dog before you touch the bird.
Hey, I learned that.
Did you learn that?
Remember that my first one?
Did you touch? What'd you do?
Well, because I'm so used to when we're training these gun dogs, you and me. You say good, and then you give them a little pet just to reinforce that good. Well, I did that. They said, "Don't touch your dog."
Yeah, you can't.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. So when a dog comes back,
so don't touch your dog.
So don't touch your dog. When a dog comes back, I'm going to tell you the standard first, and then I'll tell you the way you can do it. Dog comes in the heel. They sit down. You grab the bird, then you grab the dog, and you hand the bird to the judge. All right. The rule is they just got to deliver to hand in junior. So that means your dog could run out there, get it. They could be on their way. Come here, Fido. Come here, Fido. You could turn, look away, act like you're being all cool. And as soon as the dog comes, just reach out and grab it and quick get it before he drops it. As long as you catch it. Literally, that dog can spit the bird at you like a Michael Jackson free throw. Michael Jackson. Jordan! My God, I hope Michael Jordan don't listen to this podcast.
What are they putting? I want one of those.
What is in that stamp?
I want one of those.
Son of a gun, man. Seriously. What's going on in my brain today? And they can spit it out at you like Michael Jordan free throw. And if you catch it, you're fine. As long as it don't hit the ground. All right. But what type of standard would you want that? That'd be too nerve-wracking at a hunt test. Right? So in my training and my teachings, it's like, all right, I want that dog to come in and heel and deliver my ducks to me during duck season. And I want him to come at a hunt test and deliver my ducks to me the exact same way.
Well, how do I do that?
Okay, a thing called force fetch.
There you go.
Right? Okay, so I was at a hunt test multiple times. And as a pro going over to junior, I'm usually like, okay, it's all up to the marking. I know they're going to get the bird. I know they're going to come back and heel it and give it to me. But many times I'm sitting and holding blind and somebody new to the hunt test game will be in front of me. They'll be in front of me and I'll be like, I'll watch them. And they don't have this dog force fetched. And this is actually another amazing thing to me. I can remember this lady in Iowa. And I was at Iowa Hunt Test, Skunk River Retriever Club. And the dog comes 5 yards. He never does this in training. That's another thing. They never do this in training. But anyway, let's not go on that tangent. So the dog spits it out literally 5-10 feet from her. Come on, fetch him up. Fetch him up. If they drop the bird in junior, you can tell them to fetch it. You have X amount of tries. The judges want you to pass junior. They want you to have a good time. They want that dog to pick. And if that dog picks that bird up 1 inch off the ground, you slide your hand underneath there and grab it, they'll let you get by. But I guarantee you, if you get that 1 inch this time, you're probably not going to get it on the next bird. Because remember, we got a whole nother bird yet. We're still talking about the first bird yet. All right. And you can do what they call the junior grab. Just scoop and grab. All right.
The junior grab.
Number 2, bird will come out. All right. It'll usually be a dead bird. All right. And they can put their flyer in either order. They can have the flyer first or the flyer second on land. They usually shoot their flyer on land in junior. All right. And you go up, the dog runs up, picks up, comes back, heels it up. All right. You grab the bird first. You grab the dog. You hand the bird to the judge. You leash the dog up, and then you must heel the dog, showing control on your way out, and thank your judges on the way out. There's a whole procedure that I teach. Okay, at these hunt tests. All right. Now, let's just blend our earlier conversation with right now, because we're talking about correlating duck hunting and hunt testing. The dog goes on the decoys. You can see more birds coming on the horizon, and the dog is out there plucking the bird, and you don't want to run out there to scare the next birds coming in, but he won't bring it in, and he's messing with the bird, and you're embarrassed, and you're frustrated, and you're getting mad at the dog because he's not force fetched to bring you back that bird on the hunt. Okay. Dog runs out at a hunt test in front of a gallery of 40 people, runs out, picks the bird up, starts messing with it. This is no kidding. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I'll give you guys a whole nother thing right now. I don't know why dogs do this at hunt tests, but they do it. They will literally pick the bird up. They'll go out to the bird. They will frickin' drop it and they'll piss on it. You guys are like, you guys seriously think I'm drinking right now, but I'm not. I don't know what's going on with my brain. But this is no kidding. They will piss on it. I've seen it all. And you'll stand there and go, all right. Once the dog pisses on the bird, you think they're gonna pick up a piss-filled duck of their own piss? No, they won't pick it up. Okay. So in front of 40 people, their dog just ran up pissed on the bird and they won't pick it up. All right, it's the same thing. Why won't they pick the bird up? Okay, I mean, people need to know this because I'm like saying this kind of cocky and funnily, but it's not really funny to people who don't understand what I'm saying. The reason why they won't pick it up is because they were not taught to fetch for you. So that's the whole idea of our train retrieve and force fetch program and Wing Masters. And when you're training, the whole idea of force fetch a dog, you even force fetch a dog that naturally retrieves. Right? I don't need to. He naturally brings back. Like, no. There's going to be a time that he decides that he doesn't want to do it for you, and there's nothing you can do.
And how many times, like when our first 2 episodes, when you said that, like I know we're making it funny right now about those, but I was there 2 years ago.
Right.
I had no clue. You'd be laughing at me if I was at a junior hunt test. Or when you were talking about Toddy before you had him force fetch and you were begging for the birds. We laugh now because we know what's going on.
Right.
But we don't want you to have to go through that.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Alec.
Like you said it perfectly before, but we're laughing because like once you know, then it's funny. Right. Because we remember those times.
We remember too.
13, 14 years ago.
And you might be listening to this podcast going right now, oh my God, that's me. I'm so embarrassed. Mike and Alec are going to think that I'm... No.
Go to Wing Masters.
You just call. Just call here and we'll talk about it. Like, don't be embarrassed by it. That's one thing that I've prided myself on is that at a hunt test, people literally find me at times because hunt tests are kind of like, I don't know, what would you call them? Like going to a test at school. Like everybody's quiet. Not many people talk. Pressured. You're a little pressured. People don't really talk to each other a little bit at some of them. Don't get me wrong, hunt tests are a good time. I don't want to give you a fear of going to them. I'm just telling you that it's a lot more like strenuous and pressured than what you think it is. It's
really enjoyable.
But it's enjoyable, so don't get freaked out. Don't not go to hunt test based on what I'm saying here. But anyway, don't be embarrassed to say, hey, that's me. Because it was me. That's why I joke around about it. Thankfully, like Tim Samuelson, my best buddy, here's another great one. I just gave you the piss story.
Oh, God.
Okay, thankfully none of my dogs ever pissed on a bird, but I watched dogs that pissed on a bird. And I just went on another tangent because I was talking to you about the lady in Iowa, but we'll go back to her. But anyway, I'll just jump over this tangent. Tim's dog is in force fetch. We're going to go hunt test.
What dog is this?
This is Drake. And so Drake and Toddy were Tim Samuelson's first 2 dogs. Well, Timmy's going to get in a hunt test with me too. You know what? I'll hunt test with you summer. We'll bird dog in the fall. And him and I are really getting into this whole all year round dog thing. Toddy's force fetch now. He goes out, brings the birds back. Drake is not force fetched. Here's what Drake does. He runs out. He grabs the bird. Timmy's calling it back. No collar on. What does he do? He starts munching the bird on the way back. The bones are breaking in the birds and the guts are squirting out. It was 2 female judges. You can pick that dog up. Yeah, why don't we just get this over with right now? Like they were freaking out. And again, and it's not the dog's fault.
At Timmy's face.
Timmy's blood pressure.
We're gonna have to send him this clip.
Yeah, we're gonna send Timmy this clip. And it was funny times. And I think there's even a picture that we got of like him standing at the line probably with his face all right. But anyway, so
we were there though. Like how
but we were there. That's what we're talking about.
Like the Chaos got his junior title. And I said, you know what, I want to try at a junior because it was a double junior. And I wanted to try doing everything that I would do at a senior hunt test. So I walked him off lead, sat him down. They didn't shoot the flyer first. They shot it second. So I'm like, okay, mark it. He moved well. I'm like, oh man, this is okay. He sent them, brings it back. Next one, they shoot the flyer, breaks on me. I'm like, oh. And like I felt embarrassed. But the thing is, I looked at it and said, okay, there's no reason for me to feel embarrassed because now I know what I need to go work on.
Right.
And now he's rock steady. I hunted him the whole time after that. Doesn't break on me. So I just knew something. I wasn't embarrassed at first, but that was me.
Right.
He broke on me.
Right.
Okay, it happens.
Oh, you want to know something embarrassing? I mean, last year I started running a blind with a dog, and he's 3/4 of the way to blind at a master hunt test, and all of a sudden he starts blowing me off and goes in hunt mode. And I'm like, here, and he has no car. I have to walk all the way out. I've had more embarrassing stuff than you guys will ever.
And it still happens.
And it still happens.
It just happens.
Yeah, I mean,
but we get to laugh about our experiences like that.
Yeah.
You know, now I look back at how he break. I'm like, I should have done more studying work.
Right. So, don't. If you go back to what we said earlier, and you don't have an eagle, and you're okay to ask for help, and you're okay to put some work in, and start holding your dog to some standards, all right? Well, that's what we're here for, to help. That's what it's about. If you make excuses for the dog, this is the best one. Now, I think when the dog was out there, somebody blew their horn on 2 miles away, and he heard that horn blow, and that's what made him pick us up and why he didn't pick the bird up. I mean, this is, people come up with like Alice in Wonderland stories as things that are going on. So just to make it, don't make excuses. Just make the excuse that I got to go back to training, or I need knowledge to train this dog to a higher standard that I don't have. I just,
and there's nothing
wrong with it. I that's what Wing Masters is here for. And like, it's going to be so awesome in the future on the website to be like, oh yeah, been there. Go to this section in Wing Masters. It'll start taking care of that for you.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's going to be, I can't wait. And that's what we're going to be filming a lot this summer. So, all right. So the dog goes out and does what we just described. I'm just telling you funny stories that's happened. All right. Versus, and I'll go back to this lady in Iowa. So she's in front of me, and I'm running, and she's begging a dog, and the dog don't pick it up. So I'm like, okay. And that lady is like so embarrassed, and you could see that it was already enough for her just to get in front of people. Like, she was already scared, and she was up there trembling to be in front of people. Like, this is something she wanted to try for herself. And then the dog fails her. Now she's embarrassed, and she failed in front of a bunch of people. And like, I'm scared for her because I'm like, okay, this is going to ruin this lady's confidence, and she's never going to run around a hunt test again. Just because she don't know what she don't know. So like, I'm like, note to self, I'm going to run this dog. I'm going to go find this lady quick in the parking lot because she needs to know it's okay. Because she came there by herself. She didn't know anybody at the hunt test. She's parked off by herself. She come up to the line. She's just doing what she's read in the rule book. You know, there's nothing to teach you about hunt testing online besides, what's going to be coming Wing Masters. And so this poor lady is up there, and I felt so bad for her. So what happens? I go up. I don't remember what dog it is. I walk up. I hold him like what you were talking about. Dog. I really tell him sit. Good. Ship him. Picks up the bird. Heels up. Hands to me. Point him in the next bird. Wave to the judges. Bird goes off. Dog sends out. Goes out. Pins the mark. Comes back. Heels up. Take it. Heel the dog away from the line. Say thank you, judges. All right. And they'll be like, and then what do the judges say? All right. We'll see you at the water. They pretty much already told me I already passed. Okay. How enjoyable that experience was, like when you were doing with Chaos Hall. He's going out there, and he's perfect. And this is going to segue into a thing I want to talk about here in a second. He does perfect. You go in. How prideful you feel.
It's the best feeling.
How the great feeling it is, because you're in front of all these people. Your dog goes out and just
pounds it,
which calls front foot. Like in a term of retriever, you'll hear people say, "Yeah, the dog went out and front footed it." It means that when it ran to the bird, its front feet hit the bird. That's how accurate it was going to the bird.
Another term is lining it.
Or lining it. Yep, never is he lined the, you know. Another one is we always say pounded it. He pounded it. He went straight to it and pounded it and barrel rode the bird. Okay, so we say pounded a lot. All right, so comes back, heels up. You heel off. Everybody in the gallery's clapping for you. And like, oh man, nice job. And as you're walking out of the hunt test and you're walking through the gallery, everybody's like, high-fiving as if you're walking out of a fight.
They're great people in the junior.
They're great people, right? And the judges are encouraging you, and you're like, oh man, it feels good. Now I can't wait for water.
Like at the junior, I would say that your junior is where your average person is. Like, you have to show up there because if somebody wants a junior hunter in terms of training, but that's your average people.
Right.
That just want to do a hobby.
So you want to go there and be the star of the show. You know, that's the standards you want to have going. So, yeah. All right. So let's lead to a subject here that is important. Marking. I think that people don't understand how teaching marking works, right? Okay, so here's the thing. I have to teach a dog an internal rangefinder, right? This is the best way I can explain it. If you were out here training with us and we were filming right now a mark and we took a rangefinder and said that's 56 yards, all right? I lined the dog up. Alec throws the bird. And there's different ways to throw the bird and also to teach the dog different depth perceptions based off of where the bird's being thrown. But let's just say he throws the bird at what we call a flat throw. So let me explain this to you. You might be driving down the road understanding. Alec's out there. He's facing me. I want him to throw the bird directly in a line away from him that makes, can you explain this better to me?
It'd be perpendicular to you.
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular to you.
Yeah.
So it's like an L. So you're right here. I'm right here, and I throw that way. Perpendicular.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at Alec, I want, and let's say he's looking at me. Let's say we're facing each other.
Me, and the bird make a right angle.
Yeah, exactly. Me, Alec, and the bird make a right angle. Or
after I throw it.
After he throws it.
If you're not watching.
Right. And one more way to describe it is Alec and I were facing each other. I would want him, and he's facing me, and we're throwing to my left. I would want him to throw directly over his right shoulder that way. So we make a right angle, just like Alex said. Okay. Now, some dogs will run out 30 yards and start hunting. Some dogs will blow beyond it and start hunting way too deep. All right? Some dogs will go run out there, get distracted by Alec being the thrower, and start hunting around him. Right?
Or try and steal one of my birds.
Yeah, try to steal one of your birds. That's a whole other thing. So the dog has to learn to focus on where the bird is foaled, which is called the fall area. Right? And later on, when they start getting good, they don't care about the thrower. They just care about, boom, that's where the bird fell. That's where I'm going to that fall area. All right, now, why is this important? Well, it's correlation important. I'm going to stick with distance right now before I jump onto something else. Okay. It's correlation important because if it's a hunt test, I want him to go out and pound that mark, come back, heel up, and make me look like a rock star. If it's a hunt, I want that dog to know to blow through the decoys. Okay, this bird landed 15 yards beyond there. I want him to learn to blow through the decoys, goes out, goes beyond it. And what does he do? Start hunting where he believes the distance away where the bird fell. Okay, if he does not have an internal rangefinder of learning how to mark, what he'll do is he'll run out there and just start hunting. He won't run to the fall area and put on a hunt. So here's the objective. We'll just say a 50-yard mark. Alec throws a 50-yard mark right now, and we'll just use a dog right now. We'll just say for Connor, because we're going to be starting to film Connor. All right? Let's say this is Connor learning how to do a 50-yard mark. All right, and Connor runs out and starts hunting. Okay, I'm going to tell Alec, help him get to you. What he needs to learn is to get to you to find the bird. And then he starts learning, I calculate off of where the thrower is. And as soon as I get to the thrower, I know there's a bird there. So then that starts teaching him an internal rangefinder. Later on, I want Alec hiding behind a tree. I want Alec hiding behind grass. I want Alec hiding behind a bank of a pond and throwing the bird so they don't see Alec. So then they just got to go to where that bird is because they understand going the distance. So we are teaching a dog an internal rangefinder of depth perception.
You always explained it perfectly when you would say, I throw the bird, you got him at heel, sit, throw. The dog takes a picture.
Yep.
So when you go to a real hunt from training with a bird thrower, they take that picture, they learn to mark off of other things in the air, and then they learn when they get better and better as they go on in teaching marking, they learn on to pinpoint where in the picture that bird landed and go to that spot.
I'm glad you just brought up my analogy there because I think that is the best analogy. The dog sees the bird fall, takes a picture. They must run out into the 3D picture and go right in that picture and know right where that bird fell, pick it up, come back and heel it up to you. All right? That is a dog learning how to mark. In a junior test, your longest mark can be 100. In general, they don't do that on land. In general, your longest mark's probably about
Chaos's was.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that was the whole other story. Oh, man, that would get me on a whole nother tangent. Let's leave that one alone for a second. But we might come back to that because that's another good start. Okay, but let's stick on the theme right now for a second. All right, so they go in that picture and find the bird. And then they come back and go, all right, now, I have to teach that because what's the difference between a 40-yard mark? What's the difference between a 75? What's the difference between 150? What's the difference between 200, 300? So later on, in your marking, when a dog is at a junior level, so we're talking about a junior level right now, I'm going to mark them out to 100 yards. But then I'm going to go, okay, today we're going to do all 100-yard retrieves. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a 100-yard and then I'm going to do a 50-yard. And I'm going to do a 100-yard and I'm going to do a 50-yard. Because otherwise the dog's going to learn, I just blow out there along and then don't learn how to do distance. Now tomorrow, I put one mark at 100, one mark at 80, one mark at 50, and do a downward slant. Okay, the next day, I might do an upward slant. One at 50, one at 80, one at 100. So I go out each day and set my marking up to teach this dog depth perception, whether it's long to short or short to long. All right, and I have marking strategic setups. Like sometimes if you came out and trained at my place, you'd look at, oh boy, what's Mike got in mind today? I'm setting up a specific scenario of how I'm going to get this dog to be able to mark through junk. And when I say junk, like it has to look through a bunch of things. Got to look through decoys. Got to look past the holding blanket. Got to look through grass. Got to later on look through water, because we're not talking about water retrieves right now. Just stick with land. To teach him how to go find that bird in the proper depth perception.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always love this thing about training is, say, whether you're at a test or you're training, you're not trying to trick the dog, you're trying to teach them. So I don't want to say trick, I want to say you're trying to teach them depth perception in terms of severe different depths, right. Difference. So you could do 250-yard marks. So you're doing a triple. 150-yard mark goes off. Your, say, 20, 30-yard mark goes off. And then your go bird at 175. Right. Okay? They run out and go get that 175. A lot of dogs are going to blow past that 30-yard mark after running 170, after seeing two out there. So that's a great learning thing. But that's one of my favorite teachings that you explain, because a lot of dogs can go out in a hunt test because they throw a super long and a super short.
Right. Because their brain says, I just went long, I got to go long again.
And that's why it's so important to train that and teach.
Yeah. And you teach that through single marking concepts. Short, middle, long, middle, short.
Yep.
And you start that as singles. Well, you were describing it as a multiple, and that's fine. But I also know why you were describing it, so you said the perfect thing there. And so you're teaching that. And then later on, we got to start multiples that way. Okay? We got to throw a 20-yard bird, and then we got to throw 175. They run out, boom, they come back. They got to learn to check what's called a check down bird and pick down a check down bird. Okay, later on, we send them on a 20. Then we got to learn to do what's called a punch bird. Then they got to punch out 175 yards. All right, we'll talk about that in the next episode a little bit more as we get into more senior level stuff. We'll stick with junior today. But so the dog has to be taught on a mark. So a lot of people will just tell me, and this is another little like thing I get all the time. They'll be like, oh, I just force fetch him and just steady him. That's all I need. That's good enough. No. Force fetch and steadiness is to start to actually make a duck dog. Because we'll steady dogs out here, right? And we'll go start making them marking, and they'll look like they don't know a thing once they've been studied. Because that was just the prerequisite in order for you to actually go pick a bird up. Oh, no, he just gets studied and he's force fetched and he'll go pick up any bird. No, he won't, because he doesn't understand depth perception.
I would love to show people, say, because like you look at natural raw talent, some dogs, they can pick up 50-yard marks right off the setting, and some dogs can't. There's nothing wrong with that one dog. Right. You just got to spend a little more time. I would love to show somebody that dog right out of steadiness, and then that dog 3-4 weeks later.
Right.
Just stomping on them.
We ever heard of this thing called Wingmasters? That's what we're going to
I can't believe you started Wingmasters.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Well, what a brilliant idea that was. That's what we're going to be showing, because we're going to have a marking section in there. And this sets you up to be able to do multiple marks for the next levels we're going to talk about, which senior is mid-level or intermediate, and then that's also called seasoned in HRC, and then you got master, which is the highest level of hunt test, and then you got what's called finish in UKC. Then you got the master national, which is the highest level of the hunt test in terms of a national standard, and you got the grand in HRC, that's a national standard. Then if you want to go beyond hunt test and play even bigger against dogs, okay, because in hunt test, you're playing against a standard, so it's just pass-fail. If you want to go play next level is quals, that's where you're all fighting for first and second to get a qualified all-age, and there might be 40 dogs entered, and there's only going to be 2 placements, and that only gives 2 titles. And you got to actually battle on who has the best marks and the best blinds. All right, then you go to the next one. And then you want to get a field champion? Well, now you're talking 400 or 500 yards, and you're talking the big boy stuff. Okay, so it goes up to that level, and you guys need to understand the stages of it. Most people aren't going to have the time, the money, or the value in going to all them levels. If you want to, that's a great aspirations. I've done them all. But you the value is you understanding the standards at which a dog is at Foundation right now. We'll go to this higher level in a different episode.
Can I touch on something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you explain, I think this is perfect for correlation between a junior hunter and taking them duck hunting. So hunt test versus actual duck hunting. So when we're out training, say you have a dog in training right now. Dog sees the bird go up and come back down. Start in my hand, sees the arc, comes back down. They see one, okay?
Yep.
Now, I take that dog duck hunting, real life duck hunting. Birds are circling, we're quacking. Birds start falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to touch on is whether you're having your dog trained here, and you touch on this in the ceremony of giving them back and showing them everything. You know, you always touch on this. We can't simulate 50 geese coming into our decoys.
Right.
We can only show this coming in or
right.
shooting a flyer, but it still sees it come up. So like on my first duck hunt, when I had, I didn't shoot, so we hunted with 5 guys. We dropped like 6 and 5 guns went off at the same time. I sent Kysely, he doesn't move. I'm like, what the heck? This is embarrassing. Well, I realized that he was looking at all the guns because it's only ever been me shooting.
Right.
Well, and then also he's never just seen birds fall out of the sky. So the next time he saw the birds this time instead because they came from behind the first time. Now they came from the front. He's like, figured out I gotta look up now.
Great.
So in a hunt test, you see the arc. The bird, there's either a launcher.
It's coming from if you're driving down the road, it's coming from the ground to an arc and falling back down.
Instead of just falling straight out of the sky. So
you're right.
The dog, if you get a dog from here and we demonstrate a live flyer, shoot a live flyer and you shooting right over the head, they see me out there.
Right.
But say you take your dog duck hunting right from here, they have to learn that, okay, now I have to look up and watch. Because if you drop a duck and your dog's still looking down here, he's like, I don't see anybody out there.
Right.
But once they figure out in the first couple, they figure it out really quick. But they do. So don't get discouraged in a real duck hunt. Because some dogs just do it naturally but if they're coming from behind, that dog never sees it, and he's looking over there, he's looking at these people calling, you're going to get discouraged. Dude, I got discouraged, but I remembered, okay, hey, I can fix this, and I just need to spend the time with them. You just have to take them on hunts. Do not get mad at the dog for that.
No, I'm so happy you just brought that up because that's actually where you'd say, I got this trained dog, what a piece of crap. He's been at Wing Masters and they said he trained him and he can't even go pick a bird up. No, there's correlations. He's been seeing everything from the ground up to back to the ground. And Alex just made a perfect point. They gotta start watching the sky. And like you said, it don't take long.
And then once they see that bird fall, guess what? That's where their internal rangefinder goes off, and they start pounding them.
And they start pounding them, and then
they're like,
it takes one hunt.
Yeah.
So your best hunt is birds coming and decoy in front of you like you want them to, and when they come in and decoy in front, they circle the decoys, and then you go mark. And when you say mark, the dog looks out and goes, "Oh, I need to watch." And then they see birds, and all they're seeing is a bunch of live flyers flying around.
And another thing that I just thought of is it's also, if you're doing that, it could also be harder if you have them in a ground blind.
Correct.
Because if they're in, then they can't see even up. So now if this is the ground blind, you can't see me, but I have my hands over my head like my brim, my hat.
Right.
Okay, now they're just seeing little things fall.
Yes.
Okay, so now it's even harder if you take a dog on a duck hunt for his first time, and that's all they're seeing.
That's all they're seeing because they should be staying in the ground blind. Some dogs they'll learn to keep their head out of the ground blind, and that's probably what they'll start doing. They'll start sticking their head out, and we'll allow them to
looking
do that.
up,
and they'll start looking up with their head out of the ground. We'll allow that, but
then you can just simply, if they're coming in and they know what's going on, you nick them and just tell them kennel, and they scoot back.
Yeah,
that's what they're taught.
Yeah, they're taught to stay in there deeper because we don't want to get them in the habit of like getting out of the blind as the birds are coming.
So then you go to a hunt test. They're at heel. They're sitting in an open space. They see each gun. So that's just a little bit of correlation where the difference comes in, but your marking's still there. Just because they didn't see the bird go down and they don't understand entirely on the first set of birds that came in. Well, guess what? I guess if you got 2-3 more sets coming in, they're going to figure it out real quick.
Right. And Alec made a really good point there, too, because your first hunt, the gun's going to distract them when 6 guns are going off. They're going to start just, like, looking all over the place.
Or you're quacking, like they're not going to whine.
And so we quack here. We jump up. We shoot 2 times. Sometimes Alec and I both stand on each side of them and have Stewie throw, and we jump up and boom, boom, boom. And we try to get it as close as we can get. But remember, on a hunt, you got to be patient. Your first year is your learning year. So as long as we're on this subject now, and we'll start rolling out of this right now, is that we're talking about standards in your foundation dog. Okay, your first couple hunts, like I told you, you should just be operating your dog.
Didn't even shoot.
You know, if you got somebody with you, like take a buddy with you. Like if you're like, oh, I can't wait to duck hunt this week and get my new boat and this. You know what? Bring a buddy with you. Let him do the shooting and you operate. You got a brand new boat? Well, operate your brand new dog. So he has a really successful hunt. The other thing is, let's say you just don't get no birds that day or whatever. Okay, or whatever. It's not bad to have yourself a dummy along.
That's perfect that you said that.
And have a dummy with you in your bag. And no ducks came in. So the dog went and sat perfectly. He got no interaction with what an actual hunt is. Well, at least at the end of the morning, then, if you got no ducks, just have your buddy, or from your out of nowhere, just throw it so your dog don't see. Have your buddy jump up and shoot, and then send them out beyond the decoys and let them go get a bird. Because it's good for them to be in the environment. So it's the same as here. It's the same as training. We pull the dog out, we heel him up, we sit him down, we tell him the mark, we heel him back. Well, the other side is this dog's got to learn to be patient. It might be we might get there 5:30 in the morning. We might set decoys. And then it might be another half an hour before light. So that dog's had to sit there for 1 hour. All right, that's a whole nother relationship. That's a whole nother thing with obedience. But so this is there. I wanted to start with this because there's lots to talk about this summer in training. Like, man, what have we been on this, an hour and something already? And it's like,
yeah, about an hour and 15.
Yeah, about an hour and 15, and I feel like we're just scratching the surface. My whole plan was to come on here and run through all the hunt test levels, and we just got done.
Well, this is a perfect interlude between next podcast,
the next
senior
podcast
and master,
and going with what's going to be senior and master, and then we'll correlate what a senior hunt dog on the hunt is,
and same with the master,
and what a master is on the hunt, and how it correlates. And how maturity comes into play, and how experience comes into play, and how skills come into play, where when things go wrong, you as a handler and a dog has more skills together between you to do it. And part of the thing that I want to talk about here is that some of it is because you didn't take, like if a dog's junior, you didn't spend the time coming to a seminar, coming and training enough, or seeing the wingmasters. Watching the Wingmasters videos that we're producing right now, which you haven't had this opportunity, so it's no problem. We're our number one thing this summer is to make sure that we have the graduation videos done that you can watch before you even get here. Then you come learn from us, and then you can always use those videos as a reference on how to handle a dog. You know, I always see this stuff right now. My niece is getting a horse, like talk about. I want to get a horse. It's another piece of life I'm going to do. And I'm watching like horsemanship stuff of how to ride a horse and all these little details. It's the same thing as dog training. And people take a big pride in taking lessons in horses and learning about horses psychology and learning about how to ride a horse. Why? Because they don't want to die on their horse. Yeah, they don't want to get killed on their damn horse, right? And so there's a more safety factor, so people are more precautious. But you want the same idea. Why? Because you don't want an accident to happen where you shoot your dog in the field. You don't want an accident to happen where a dog gets entangled on something. You want the experience between you and the dog to be these stories that you read about in the magazines. The stories that we're telling you, right? So here's the thing. Every year, it's been an awesome tradition. This is our 5th anniversary of my Waterfowl / Hunt Test seminar. And this year it's June 15th, 2024, right here at our headquarters in central Wisconsin. And it's one of my enjoyable seminars. And sometimes I think about just doing it at the end of the summer like I do the other one because it'd be closer to hunting season. But it's also to help people that want to hunt test through the summer too. You come and learn about exactly what we just talked about, right?
Hands-on or just a spectator.
Hands-on or a spectator. So you can sign up for my seminar as you and your dog coming to work at the seminar, and you get a relationship in front of me, and I help you get your skills, and I help you build your skill set of your dog, and you show me your dog and say, okay, you need to work on this, this, and this in order to get up to the standard in which we just talked about for the last hour. Or you come as an observer and watch and go, oh, okay, I'm going to go home and really work on that now because I learned it. And the seminars give you a hands-on showing of all the stuff we just talked about at a junior level, and then at the seminar, I also go into senior level and I also go into master level throughout a whole weekend. This year's June 15th and 16th. There's the flyers being made right now, or it might be out by the time you even get to listen to this podcast. And get signed up online and get to our seminar. One, you come and get to meet Alec and I. We make it a fun time. We train all day. We get in at night. We have a supper. We sit down and we actually what's called podcast talk. We sit down in lawn chairs. Some people grab a beer and we sit down. We have a supper. We have a supper. Like I said, we provide it, and then we get into like Q&A, where you can ask me this stuff right face to face, and then I can sit and talk to you about it. And then what's cool about it is I saw your dog during the day. So when you ask me a question, I can say, hey, well, your dog did this because of this, and this is why you want to do this.
It's not just over the phone.
It's not just over the phone of stuff like that. So go on our social media, Wingmasters, on the Blast, or Michael D. Vaughn, my Facebook page. Hit us up with a follow on all those, and get signed up for the seminar. We have camping on site where you can camp. We have a couple Airbnbs around, and then we got close hotels. I want to end on this episode. And I thank you guys for hanging with us.
Wait, I want to end on one thing.
Okay,
this is my ending.
This is Alec.
I just want to tell a quick story.
Okay, I'm ready.
So one really cool thing about this junior year, when I got my first junior pass, I think we just got the ribbon and we went aired and fed dogs. You looked at your Facebook and you got a memory from how many years ago would that have been? 11 for Toddy?
Yeah.
He got on that day, 11 years ago. I believe it's 11 years ago.
It might have been.
Whatever it was. That you got your first junior pass with Toddy. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that. I thought that was funny.
Let's go. Sorry, I go. Look at this.
I'm holding my first ever junior pass ribbon.
Yeah, and he's all pumped up, and he should be, because here was the cool thing about Alec. And I told Alec, I said, I'm enjoying this when we were in the truck and stuff, because we're just having fun in the truck, just like we're going to a bird dogging. And he's talking about, oh man, that was great. Chaos pounded him. He brought him back perfect. Did you see that other dog spit it up? So did you see the other dog piss on a bird?
I have not seen that yet. I do want to see it.
Yeah, I do want to see it. It'll happen. So we're all excited in the truck, and I go, look at this. I said, this is literally a memory come up on this day, mysterious ways that all
Toddy's first AKC Junior Pass.
Ribbons, and that was my first dog, Toddy. We mentioned in an earlier podcast. That got me started. So yeah. Like you said, it's because we've been there. And Chaos, he went 4 for 4, right?
No, 4 for 5. But he went 4 for 4 initially.
Yeah.
And then the last one, yeah.
And then the last one, because you were just being brave. That's all. And that was fine.
Like I said, it gives you something to work towards. I walked away and said, okay, I know what I'm going to.
Yeah.
Steadiness. More steadiness. And not talking to him. Not saying sit the whole time while he's marking.
Right.
I say sit once and I leave it alone. Guess what? If he breaks, I'm going to correct it.
Right. Yep. And exactly. So, and it was teaching about standards. So, I'm glad you said it. That was fun. That was fun. That was great there. But your first ribbon and your first bird shot every dog are two most prideful moments. All right, and I'm going to say your first ribbon at each level is even that way. So, and I would say your first bird for each different type of bird hunting is that way, if we want to correlate it, right? So the first time you shoot a duck over them, the first time you shoot a goose over them, all right, and the first time that you might shoot an upland bird over them, right? Okay, a true upland, a true hunt. All right, I say this all the time. It's one of my tidbits from a couple years ago, and I wrote it. Maybe not a couple years, maybe a year ago. I don't know. I write so many Friday tidbits that I can't remember them all. And I think one of the coolest things I was just thinking about the other day is like compiling like 2 years of my tidbits into one book, which would be pretty cool. That's what we might need to do. And so I wrote about your first bird is your first mount. All right. So you get into getting your first dog. You get into training yourself, or you have it trained here at the Wingmaster facility, or in the future you use the Wingmaster program. And you get to the first hunt. The birds circle perfectly. The dog's looking up. You're blowing the call. You jump up. You shoot. The dog stays perfectly sitting. You sit down. You tell him, you're such a good boy for staying sitting. You send him out. He runs out through decoys, picks your bird, comes back, heels and hands it to you absolutely perfectly, like the picture perfect moment at 6:10 in the morning, if that's your shooting light time, and you just go, oh my God, this is what I paid for to have trained, or this is what I worked for all summer.
It is the best feeling in the world.
It's the best feeling, the first bird over your dog, right? All right, now, correlation. It is the best feeling. Your first hunt test, you're nervous. You don't know what to expect. You go to the line. The judges are telling you. You're trying to remember everything you said. You're in front of a bunch of people. Dog goes out, pounds the test. You go back to the ribbon ceremony. Once the 2 series are done, they go back to the clubhouse. Each retriever club has a clubhouse. And they go back to the clubhouse, and then they announce what dogs passed. And you walk up, shake the judge's hand, and they hand you the ribbons, right? And to get that first ribbon, because of all the work of you doing, all the anxiety you've had, all the anticipation leading up to it, of you getting handed your first ribbon, and you frame your ribbon up, right? And later on, you frame your title, because you get 4 passes in your junior, and you get a title and you frame it. And then you mount that first bird, all right? Those are really special moments because you only get those first once. I told Alec this many times. So nowadays, I own so many personal dogs that I don't mount every first bird because of how many I've had. And I kind of feel bad about that because my dogs deserve it. But I definitely stay with my saying, I take the damn picture. I'm definitely going to be smoking some pictures on doing it and take all different. I'm going to take the time to sit down and set up some cool pictures because I'm going to use the picture as my moment for that. And I'm probably going to frame it because that's my newest dog. Like Connor's going to be trained on the Wing Masters this summer. And we take him on his first hunt. And he brings me his first bird, flushes his first rooster, brings me his first duck back. All right, it's going to be like, all right, I'm going to take the pictures and go, all right, Connor, this is rocking because now you're building your career as another generation because Connor's out of Journey. And he's hopefully going to be my next dog. It's going to be out of Journey that's going to carry on the torch of taking over for Journey. Okay, that are special moments, guys. It's what we live for as hunters. And then we want that to repeat all the way to a limit. So my one buddy, Mike Hudman from Texas, has this really good saying. He's like, 1 bird at a time to 1 limit at a time. So 1 bird perfectly, 2 birds. In Wisconsin, it's 6. Let's just say 6 mallards, right? Or 5 or 6? I think 6. Nick Nelson.
Well, yeah, it'd be 6. 4 drakes and 2
hens.
Yep.
In Wisconsin. Yeah, obviously check your regulations.
I believe.
Yeah, don't listen.
Yeah, don't
listen.
Listen.
We better check. Holy crap! We better call somebody as soon as we get off. As soon as we get off, we better call.
Yeah, we might have to bleep in some words.
Yeah, don't go and shoot 6 ducks if it's only
whatever state has 6 ducks. That's where we were hunting recently.
Yeah. But anyway, it's hard to get a limit, and it's hard to go shoot a limit by yourself. So then when you get a limit, it's like a whole nother level. Obviously, you're not going to mount every bird on your limit, but it's definitely picture taking time and maybe stopping at the bar and saluting your bird dog with a shot or something. I mean, it's you know, and if you don't drink, then whatever, then you get a sun drop. That's what you do. So I want you guys to understand how important those moments are because you get them once. They're your firsts. You know, it's like raising a kid. You know, it's your first things that they do. The first time they walk, the first time they talk. This is what you're doing. You're living vicariously through your dog. So I want you guys to understand how important that moments are and set standards to get to that moment so that when it happens, you can say, man, this is what Vaughn was talking about on Wing Masters. And then you can freaking hashtag Wing Masters.
Can I say something really quick about what you said? You said living through your dog vicariously. Now, I want to ask you a quick question.
Sure.
If you're on a hunt, whether it's rooster, like I know you're rooster fanatic, don't get me wrong. But if you didn't have a dog, would you be as interested in rooster hunting as you are now?
No, I wouldn't even do it.
See, I do it. Like, I could go and have as much fun on a duck hunt, goose hunt, rooster hunt. Like when I was filming you and you're running Chaos when you're gross on Chaos Cowboy. I had just as much, don't get me wrong, I love shooting birds over my dogs. But I had just as much fun watching my dog do its job. That's why I love hunting with my dog.
Oh, yeah. No, you just said it perfect. Yeah.
I get just as much enjoyment working my dog as I do shooting the birds.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. And when you guide like I guided.
It's so I love guiding at the Rush the Flush Hunt Club. Like, for those vets, oh my gosh, have Cowboy.
Here, you hunt here clear, or I guided a few waterfowl hunts. Okay, when you guide and you take somebody hunting and then you just set your gun aside and you watch them people get the joy out of the dog that you train, and then you get to actually to see the dog internally because you're not actually involved in the hunt.
Exactly.
You're watching from third person, which is also why it's so cool to be a cameraman.
Oh, yeah. That's true, too.
You know, it's so cool to be a cameraman. I tell wives all the time, hey, wives, listen to me right now. We're talking to the wives. And guys, if your wife ain't listening to this podcast, start to listen to the last 5 minutes of this podcast because it's the best podcast anyway. Is that they, wives, girlfriends, fiancés, whatever, okay, daughters, all right, get them in the outdoors with you and let them go be the picture taker. Because I'll tell you what, wives, daughters, fiancés, girlfriends, they will love to see their family member go out in the field and do what they love to do. And then they will get a deeper appreciation for why you leave the house at 4 a.m. in the morning. All right? You want to save your marriage? Take them on a hunt and let them see what that dog actually does. Show them why that dog was at the Wing Masters being trained all summer. Show them why every night after work you went for an hour and worked the Wing Masters training program. You know, it's coming soon.
You could not have said that more perfectly.
You know, and I'm going to tell you right now, and then I'm going to tell you this really cool thing, and I have a lot of advocate women friends that are building these women's organizations. There's so many great women's organizations. So my other thing about it, and we can connect you with some of them, with some great of my friends of mine that are women, that if you feel like you do, I want to say this to women right now. If you feel, and a lot of women feel this way, and guys, don't get mad at this. They don't want their dad to take them on the hunt because they feel like dad's always pushing them if it's a daughter, and they don't want their husband because the husband's always getting frustrated with them. Okay, well then encourage your significant other or your daughter to go hunting in one of these ladies groups then, where she feels comfortable with ladies and a lady's leading it. I've done a lot of ladies hunts at my place because I own the hunt club here, and a lot of just ladies seminars so that it was all ladies so they don't feel intimidated. You know, and then I can just go to them. I've done kids seminars. A kid, you know, it's the dad screaming at him from the sideline. No, let the coach do the coaching. You know, so these are just things that I want to tell you that we got to get people in the outdoors here. If there's anything that we're gonna pump in this podcast, and I'm not going to go into it, but Alec and I did some statistics one day, and our hunting world and the world that we live in.
That's why we're in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's why we're in Louisiana. We were sitting down BSing one day having lunch when we were training, and I'm like, ooh, if you actually look at this in terms of politics, hunting is actually a very, very small population of what
people with hunting dogs is even
smaller, right? But I'm going to tell you something. I tell everybody this, and I used to tell people that surround me. What's the easiest way to get somebody hunting? Yes, you could shove them in a deer stand and let them be bored and watch YouTube and hope a deer comes out. Okay, that's one way you could do it. Okay, but the easiest way to get them excited is to get them involved in what's their family companion. Get them involved in going out and helping you train. Get them involved in going and see the dog hunting. Get them involved in going and taking pictures. Get them involved in going to a hunt test with you, all right, where there's other families running, all right. Get them involved in going to a hunt club, taking a dog hunting and sitting down having supper at a high-end hunt club. Get involved in that stuff as a family so that you have an appreciation. Guess what? The number one thing to get people to want to hunt? A four-legged best friend. And I think we got it right there.
You are true.
I don't think we need to say any more of that. All right, guys, go on and get signed up for this seminar. This seminar is June 15th and 16th. Alec and I are excited to hang out with you for the whole weekend. In the meanwhile, we'll be posting more things about the seminar, more things about Wing Masters. Then we have the Up and Seminar later in the summer. We're going to be hunt testing. We're going to be training hard. We're excited you guys hung with us on this one.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This was a great time. See you soon.